Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey, and the fallout from Dak Prescott's injury continues. Now, Prescott underwent surgery last night to repair a compound fracture and a dislocation in his right ankle. That surgery was a success. He is expected to be released from the hospital later today, but he is facing a 4 to 6 month timeline for a full recovery, which means his season is over, and it's a brutal blow, not just for the Cowboys, but for Dak Prescott, the player. He had been awesome this year. He was the main reason you didn't get blown out in all 4 games. He had played awesome, was playing at, statistically, not so much from a team perspective, because this award is a team award as well, playing at an MVP level. But now he's out for the season, and it is a massive blow to the Dallas Cowboys. His year is done. Dak's not going to return. That means it is likely going to be the Andy Dalton show, and with, for the time being, Ben DiNucci, the current backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, we're going to take you through potential replacements for Dak. Not just who starts, but who could be your backup. And later on at the end, some potentially fun and wild trade ideas if the Cowboys want to get creative with replacing Dak Prescott. But make no mistake about it. The short-term starter, and in all reality, for the rest of the season most likely, is Andy Dalton. Dalton is the next man up for this Cowboys team. He signed a 1-year, $3 million deal in the offseason. There are added incentives if the Cowboys can make the playoffs, which we will get to in a little bit. Dalton, in reality, is one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL. I think top 3 at minimum. There aren't that many better options, maybe Jameis Winston out in New Orleans. And Dalton did lead that game-winning drive. He was 9 for 11 for 111 yards. A very bad fumble that almost sunk this team, but Dalton was good enough to win with. And that's what you're hoping for when you're forced to insert a backup quarterback. Now, Dalton is not Dak Prescott. I want to emphasize that, because if you expect Andy Dalton to put up obscene numbers and produce at the level that Dak Prescott has produced, it's not going to turn out very well for you. His play had regressed in Cincinnati, in part due to age. The Bengals unit was not nearly as good as his current Cowboys one. All that 2015 team with Dalton had some great offensive line and some great receivers. Dalton is one of the better backup quarterbacks, and the Cowboys will be able to make a bit of a postseason push. But I want to know what your confidence level is in Andy Dalton. If this had been Cooper Rush, folks, it would have been a negative 25. I'd had no confidence in this Cowboys team. With Andy Dalton, just Dalton himself, probably like a 6 or a 7. The problem is that even though the Dallas Cowboys currently lead the NFC least, I don't trust the defense. Andy Dalton can be a solid quarterback for you. The Cowboys keep that NFC East lead, but we will know very quickly if this is going to be a legitimate playoff contender. The Cowboys have 4 games before their bye. Cardinals on Monday night, Washington, which they should win with Andy Dalton regardless, at the Eagles versus the Steelers. If you had Dak Prescott, I would have thought you would win your next 3 games, and we'll see about Pittsburgh probably lost because your defense is so bad. The Cowboys can win at least against Washington, and they can win with Andy Dalton. The problem is you will not win many, if any, games because of Andy Dalton. You already did one of those with Dak Prescott. What you need to have happen if you're the Cowboys in order to make any type of playoff push, which is still possible in this terrible NFC East, the defense has to become substantially better. You're not going to win many shootouts with Andy Dalton. You have a great receiving core. Yes, Zeke, I think, is playing better after a bit of a rough couple games there. But the defense has to improve, or else it's not going to work out for the Dallas Cowboys at all. So will they win the NFC East, the Cowboys, with Andy Dalton at the helm? This is going to be the pinned comment. So I want you guys to scroll on down, if you get the ad break here on YouTube, and get your votes in. Y for yes or N for no. The other internal option currently on this Cowboys team is Ben DiNucci, the Nooch that some of you are huge fans of. The 7th-round rookie has been inactive all season. That's for a reason. He was a developmental flyer guy. He was never supposed to be the next guy up at quarterback for the Cowboys this year. I am unconvinced that Ben DiNucci is ready to be the Cowboys' backup, let alone having to play. Remember, he didn't have much of a training camp. He has never taken an NFL snap preseason or regular season. With only Dalton and then the Nooch at quarterback, I think it makes some sense for the Cowboys to explore adding another quarterback, either A, to help keep the season alive, God forbid, if Dalton goes down, but you're probably cooked at that point regardless, or at least to have a better backup capable of stepping in case Dalton misses a series or two. So get your votes in here, 1 for yes or 0 for no. Our sponsor today is BetUS, so head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code you see on your screen, Cowboys125. That'll get you a 125% deposit bonus if you put down $100. The Cowboys won last week, but they're an underdog this week against the Arizona Cardinals. Crazy how much difference a quarterback can make there. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys125. You can put some money on the Cowboys to upset the Cardinals, and if they do it, you'll make some significant money coming back your way. That is chatsports.com/bet. Don't forget the promo code and the URL. Please use those, or else you could have some issues. $100 minimum deposit to get that 125% deposit bonus. Let's look external now. Who could the Cowboys add to either surpass DiNucci or be, quarterback 3? Quarterback 3 idea might be Clayton Thorson, who knows the offense, knows the team. He was cut by the Cowboys at roster cuts. He's not a great option. A better, we need him to be our new quarterback 2 player, might be Trevor Siemian, who is currently on the Titans practice squad. He has NFL starting experience, having started 25 games across, with the Denver Broncos and the Jets. The problem is, and I want to emphasize this part right now, there are no good quarterbacks easily available. Now, you can go try and trade for someone, but Siemian's not a great option. You're better off rolling with Andy Dalton. But if you want a veteran at the quarterback 2 spot, Siemian might make some sense, and his yards per attempt isn't that bad at 6.8. Keep that in mind as we go through some other options. Let's go to a more creative idea here with a little bit more higher upside. How about Josh Rosen, who, as a reminder, is currently on that Tampa Bay Buccaneers practice squad. The former first-round pick has been set up to fail his entire NFL career and has struggled as a result. His yards per attempt, 5.7. His completion percentage is under 55. A negative TD-to-interception ratio. That's horrible. And the problem that I actually run into when it comes to Josh Rosen is it actually in his best interest to leave the Bucs and go to his 3rd team in a couple of months? Remember, the Dolphins had him in camp and then cut him. I don't think that works very well for Josh Rosen. I don't think it's going to be a smart decision for the organization. For him, I should say. So pick a quarterback here. Who would you rather have? Type BD for Ben DiNucci or type Josh Rosen, JR, in there instead. I'd actually lean more towards Ben DiNucci instead. I think that because he has experience, that makes more sense for him. And for Rosen, you're probably better off sticking in the organization that you're in right now and trying to have some semblance of stability. Now, our goal today is to get our main YouTube channel, Chat Sports, up to 200,000 subscribers. The link is below. I'll put it in the comments as well. We are almost there. I don't just do Cowboys videos here. I do a bunch of NFL draft coverage, a bunch of NFL videos, some NBA stuff as well. So if you like the NFL, the NBA, the draft, and you're not just a Cowboys fan, go subscribe today, youtube.com/chatsportstv. I did want to mention, at least verbally, some other free agent quarterbacks here. Deshaun Kaiser, who I liked a lot. Big L for me, speaking of the draft. Chad Kelly is a name, but he's not very good. Colin Kaepernick is still out there. You can bring him in for a workout if you want. I don't think it's going to be an option for the Cowboys, knowing how Jerry feels. But hey, maybe he's better than DiNucci. Only one way to find out. Bring him in for a workout. Cody Kessler's bad, and I couldn't resist putting Cooper Rush on there, but, he sucks. What you could do, however, especially if you don't trust Dalton or, as we'll discuss on a future video, Dak's long-term stats, but I think he's going to be fine, is you could trade for a starting quarterback. Is that something you want to explore? Type A for yes or type B for no. Now, 2 bigger name options here for the Cowboys. Matthew Stafford and Matt Ryan. Both of these guys you would trade for, knowing full well they would take over for this year, and in all likelihood, probably next year. The cap hit for the Cowboys actually very good. The issue is the current teams that they're on. The Lions trade away Matthew Stafford. That's GM Bob Quinn signing his own death warrant. He's getting fired if he trades away Matthew Stafford. Meanwhile, Atlanta already blew it up, But do they want to let Ryan hang around and then trade him in the offseason, trying to maximize his value? And to be quite honest, those guys haven't been great this year anyway. Now, if you want to trade for a backup quarterback, how about Nick Mullens? He's not the best option out there in terms of overall quarterbacks. But if you want a backup who has played, that is Mullens. He is currently the third-string quarterback for San Francisco. Jimmy G was awful against the Dolphins, got benched, and C.J. Beathard checked in instead. Think of a trade for Mullens like the trade for Matt Castle back in 2017 when the Cowboys sent a fifth and a seventh in exchange for Castle. It happened. It wasn't the best option, but, you could do worse, I guess, right? The completion percentage is high. It's a better skill set in terms of offensive playmakers than what the Niners have right now outside of tight end, but the receiving core is way better. If you just want a stopgap option at quarterback 2, trading away a mid to late day 3 pick isn't that bad of an idea. Some two unique and almost too far out there ideas that I wanted to run by you guys, since I know you're going to ask about it anyway. Dwayne Haskins over in Washington. Former first-round pick is now QB3, completely benched. He's not the answer anymore. The issue I have with Haskins is he only makes sense if you want to give him a trial as the future franchise quarterback. And the cost for that would be maybe a third or a fourth-round pick. I don't think it's worth it for a player who, frankly, hasn't been very good in the NFL. But the one wild idea, since I've already seen this in the comments and in my messages on Twitter, Sam Darnold. Look, the Jets suck. There's no way around it. They are very much in Trevor Lawrence range. And if they're going to tank for that number 1 overall pick, maybe you try and move Darnold while his value is at its highest point. This might make the most sense from a long-term perspective. You bring in Sam Darnold, you give him a chance to be the guy. If he plays well, you avoid the Dak Prescott dilemma. You simply don't tag him, you let him leave in free agency. The issue is, even though the Jets have been bad, so has Sam Darnold. So because of that, when looking only at this year, you're probably better off rolling with Andy Dalton, and if you absolutely have to, maybe you do try Ben DiNucci.